Today's a good day. It's about 3 years in coming. We've always told the county and other people, you give us the money, we'll make the project happen. It took a while to get this done because of the volume. You know, if you got like a 200-person agency, it's pretty easy to do. But the second thing that took so long is the demands that we made on the vendors to supply what we wanted as state-of-the-art and above. Took them a little while to get together and give us what we wanted on the RFP. Axon is the company. They're all over the United States. They do the federal government. They do local agencies. So they're not new to the business. What was a little new to them is the one thing that I thought was very important. That's live streaming. Cameras are good. They're after the fact. They capture either something that's good or something that's bad. But it's after the fact. Right? You didn't have a chance to control what was going on unless you had somebody right there. The feature that I wanted was live streaming. And the reason I think that's important is the live streaming to the supervisors, when we have an incident where demands that they're going to have to maybe intervene, live streaming lets them see in real time what's going on. So if it's not going the way we want it, then we can adjust to make it right. So the live streaming is important because it gives us an opportunity to control the outcome, hopefully, unless it's happening like in nanoseconds. But that was a very important part. So we had that ability. I've been doing some reading. I'm not so sure there's anywhere else around that has that. There might be, but I haven't discovered it. The other aspect that we wanted was when the deputy draws his gun, that thing will automatically come on. The taser cam will come on. And any deputy that's in the proximity of the deputy that drew his gun, their camera will come on automatically. So that was another feature we wanted. Over a 10-year period, this will probably be around $70 million. We're a little over 10 or 12 right now to do the contract up front, just to get the hardware going. And we're going to have to do this in increments because we got such a large agency to roll it out to, 17 districts. So we identify what we thought was the busier districts. We're rolling those out in 25 or 30 deputy increments. They've been through training, and the training is just, you know, getting used to the hardware, getting it so they know how to get it on and off, and then reviewing the policy. The policy, it's a long policy because there's a lot of moving parts in it. And of course, we had to work with the union because it's a change in working conditions. So they had to agree to a lot of the things that are in it. So it's a good policy. It will be accredited. There's no doubt in my mind. But they have to learn what's in it so they know when not to turn it on, because there's some privacy issues out here with these cameras, especially when you go into somebody's house. So we're pretty comfortable in what the training is. We're very comfortable of the hardware itself. It's a great camera. That's the position that we're going to ask the deputies to put them in. It's multi-positional. It's a very rugged type of camera. So, you know, at the end of the day, it's exactly what we wanted. It took some time, but I think that the time we took put us up to where we need to be as state-of-the-art. It's kind of like your laptops. You buy one today, next year there's a better model, or golf clubs where they make a better driver. So we think that we're a little bit ahead of the curve with what we got as far as the hardware is concerned. Definitely the software, that's going to be a big thing. But again, that streaming thing is going to turn out to be extremely valuable. So we have an opportunity to control the outcome rather than look at what the outcome was at the end of the day. So having said that, I'm going to let you guys throw a bunch of questions, and you can be first since you got your hand up. Yeah.
WPTV.
Yep.
You've explained the pros of this. There are those that say there are privacy concerns, especially when you look at the real-time arena. What do you do to make sure that this is not misused, especially the live stream?
Yeah. There'll be a constant review. Each district will select at random different body cams and review that particular footage. We've been very careful to work with attorneys to find out what the privacy issues are, and that's written into the policy, which they're going to have to sign and say, I've read the policy. So they're going to understand you can't do this, you can do this, and you can't do that. So we're very I think, where we need to be on the privacy issues. especially working with the attorneys to keep us out of problems like that.
How confident are you that that will work in the long run without having too many bugs in place as you have this?
Say that again now?
How confident are you that your staff will get it without having any bugs in the system?
Well, it's a learning process. Early on, we're probably going to have to tweak a few things here and there, and I'm sure we'll have a few missteps because it's new. We had that when we had the dash cams. So we're expecting that. I don't think it's going to be in the neighborhood of the privacy rights. I think it's going to be more of, he should have had it on, he didn't have it on, I forgot to turn it on, that type of thing. It's not like the dash cam where as soon as they turn on the blue lights, it's on and that's it. They're going to have to think in their minds, okay, this is a situation, I got to have it on. So I think if we're going to run any bumps, that's probably where it's going to be.
What is your policy on when they turn it on and when they don't have to have it rolling?
I don't have that in front of me. It's extensive. You're talking of, we got about a 6-page policy here. Right? There's a lot of parameters on when you're going to turn it on, when you're going to turn it off. The biggest one is when you go into somebody's house. They have an expectation of privacy, unless we think that there's crime being committed at that time in that residence. Then we can have it on going in there. But if you don't, then you have to tell the people, look, is it okay with you that I turn the camera on? Right? That's probably the biggest one right there is a residence. But there's a laundry list of when you can, when you can't.
This incident you had in Belgrade a few days ago where you had this canine that was used to apprehend the suspect, how do you think the body cams would have helped you to watch that in real time?
Well, it's like other videos that are taken out here, and it's not specifically about the Belgrade thing, because I can't really elaborate on that right now, because it's an active IA. But the video that I've seen is after the fact, right? It shows a snippet of what the totality of what happened is. And that's what happens sometimes when you get these people that are doing the thing on the phone. They don't capture everything. They either get the end or they get the middle. More times than not, they get the end because they weren't there when it happened, right? So there's a lot that's going on before they get that last 30 seconds of what happened at the end. What happened at the beginning is very important because that dictated what happened at the end. So I don't put too much credence in these people that do the cameras walking around with their cell phones. The body cam would have been very, very important there.
Have you seen that video? Do you think it was excessive force?
I'm not going to talk about that. That's an inappropriate question, all right? Let's stick to what we want to stick to now, okay? I just told you, I can't talk about it. All right? It's not going to change. In case anybody else wants to jump in on that, it's an active IA. I'm not going to comment any further on it.
I do have another question back on the subject of the body.
Okay, go ahead.
How many deputies do you have, and how long before all of them have the body?
All right, there's in uniform, there's 1,600 sworn. So I would say probably in the neighborhood of 1,000 that are the green and whites, including supervisors out there. And it's going to take a while because we're going to do it in 25-person increments. So it's going to take a while to get them out there. Then our next step will be detectives, and then our next step is going to be corrections. So before it's over with, we're going to talk about 3,000. All right, so it's going to take a while. But again, we're targeting the areas that we believe our volume of calls is a little bit higher.
Can you elaborate more on what those areas are?
Well, it's like everywhere else. It's going to be in the areas where we have the gangs. It's going to be in the areas where we have drug dealing. It's going to be in the areas where we got an increment of burglaries going on. And that's mainly center north, all right, without getting into these specific streets.
Sheriff, just to, Adrian from Telemundo, just to fully understand, the camera goes on automatically at a certain moment when the officer pulls its gun out, and
Yeah.
also they can turn it on and off by themselves.
Correct.
Because you were talking about those two.
Yeah, in the policy, it will tell them when they have to have it on, right, and when they're allowed to turn it off. But if the deputy draws his gun, it automatically goes on. The taser cam, because we got cameras on the tasers, automatically goes on. And any deputy that's in close proximity to him, his camera will go on, right? So,
Tasers have always had cameras?
pardon me?
I mean, the tasers.
Yeah, they've had them.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're just, we just got a newer model of them that the video's a little clearer.
Same company, Axon?
I don't know. Probably not. It's probably Taser.
How long will you store the video?
The public records law with this is the same as any evidence, if we decide we're going to keep it. If it's not of any evidentiary value or investigative value, the public records retention law will dictate that. There's a schedule of how long you have to keep something, whether it's evidence, whether it's not useful, whether it's a document that has to be kept in regards to a report. So we're just going to go by the public records retention schedule. That's another part of the cost. We have to have a unit that is going to make sure that if we get public records requests from you guys, that we redact what we have to and make sure you get it in a timely fashion. So separate from the normal public records request unit, we had to have one that specifically is going to be involved with the video because there's going to be a large volume on it. Because I don't know for sure, but I guarantee you, some news agency will say, I need to see everything for the whole day. That's going to be, that's going to be a bundle of work.
At the end of their shift, does the deputy then have to return to their office and download the video, or is it being recorded?
There'll be a system for them to download it.
At the end of their shift?
Yep.
So it's
Yep.
not recorded in the field in real time, right?
No, it's after, that's why the live streaming was important, because it's after the fact. It's like a parking garage that's got a camera. You say there's a burglary to a car, you go pull the camera out, and sure enough, there was. But it's after something already happened. That's why the live streaming was so important.
When will
Supervisor,
live
would
streaming be used versus not used? Like you said, with a deputy draws a gun, the body camera turns off, but that's not necessarily live streaming, right? So what
No,
situations will-
no, it's not. We have to have a supervisor that is monitoring a call to say, I want this live streamed, okay? So it would just be the normal camera coming on to copy what's going on.
Do the supervisors activate the live stream, or is that up to the deputies to do?
Say that?
Do the supervisors remotely activate the live stream?
No, they're going to ask there's a way for them to remotely put it on, but we'll ask the deputy to do it, so he knows what's going on also. The criteria it's going to have to be important. Whether we're going to a hostage situation, whether it's a robbery in progress, whether it's a car chase, those type of things. So that's why it's important for the supervisor to say, I want to take a look at this and see what's going on.
You think obviously with the live streaming, it's going to be a learning process over the years, because as you said, some things can be split second, they can turn serious in a live stream stage.
Yeah, well, look, this job is one, you never know what's going to happen instantaneously, right? It's like traffic stops. More people in this job get injured at traffic stops than anything else, next to domestic. So you might be stopping a car that just got involved in a crime, and you got two guys in there with a gun, you're walking up, and things start happening right now. The last thing on your mind is, I'm going to turn the body cam on. That's why it's important when they draw the gun, it automatically comes on, because they're not going to be able to, I guarantee you, when you get in a situation like that, the last thing on your mind is putting a camera on, right? We want to make it an automatic deal.
Can you think of any incidents in the last 5 years where having this technology would have helped a great deal, maybe even had a better outcome either in the arrest or the prosecution?
Well, not right offhand. I think it's a matter of more public perception than anything else. Hopefully the public realizes what we do. We have a due diligence, what I call. It doesn't matter what the situation is. It could be a car chase, it could be a use of force. Whatever it is, we start reviewing that from the minute it happens. And we look at every aspect, whether there's a dash cam, whether there's a Ring doorbell, whether there's a camera at a 7-Eleven, interviewing the people, interviewing witnesses. We do everything humanly possible to make sure we did everything right. The second part of that process makes sure that we do everything better than what we did if there's a way to do that. But our due diligence and what we do to review incidents that happened is very thorough. It starts with the watch commander out there, the lieutenant, down to the sergeant, and if we need detectives out there, we'll do that. But that's the only way you can make yourself better is review what you do.
Why is this worth $70 million of the taxpayers' money?
Well, number one, because the community was demanding it. The county commission says, we want you to do it, right? It's like everything else. It costs money. So they had to make that decision. Is this worth what we're asking you to do? Because we told them all along, you give us the money, we'll do it. And here's the proof, right? So this is, what the county commission expects, and they're the ones that are going to provide the money. So I would say to you, your next interview might be one or two of them to feel, is it worth it? I think it's worth it because in today's environment, technology, look, we got cameras all over the place through our fusion center, through our real-time crime center, all over the county. We got shot spotters in different places. So if you're not up to date on technology, it's like the laptops in the cars and everything, you're behind the curve. And it all costs money. It's like when I when I was first elected in 2004, no deputy sheriff had a laptop in the car. They were working off 1970s technology, right? So it cost us almost $100 million to get laptops in the cars so the deputies were up to the standards of 2004, right? You have to be on the cutting edge of technology or you're behind the curve.
How will this make the community safer?
How does it make the community
How
safer?
will the body cams make the community safer?
Well, I'm not sure it does. You know what makes the community safer is the job that the men and women do out there on the street. What this will do is document what they're doing, right? Because we tell them up front, this isn't one of those deals where we're spying on you or spying on the community. It's there to document what you're doing. And, we did 1.2 million calls for service last year. That's a lot. That's busy. It's the busiest agency in this county, that's for sure. So the community's safer when the deputies, the men and women that are out there do what they're supposed to be doing, have the latitude to do it, and all this will document what a good job they're doing.
Sheriff, how long will it take for this video to be released? If we submit a FOIA request, I know each situation is different, but can you give it a
The
process?
video on what?
The video, the body camera video. If we request it, how long is it going to take?
It depends on how many hours of the video you want. I would just imagine right now the turnaround time may be between 2 and 5 days. It's not going to be as quick as finding a report because you got to have somebody find it, and you have to have somebody redact it, and then the legal department's going to look at it before we turn it out. So it could be 3 to 5 days.
Do you feel like 3 to 5 days is sufficient?
Well, I'd like it to be faster, but it may not be. So it's not a matter of you're not going to get it. It's just how fast you got to have it. Look, I've done this for 50 years. I know how the news media is. They want it like yesterday, okay? It doesn't work like that.
On the similar subject, you're going to be training 25 people at a time. When will we actually see these in use on the road as part of the everyday?
There's some out there right now that look just like this.
And they're actually being used?
Yep, they're in service.
How many right now are already out there?
Pardon me?
Do you know how many body cameras are already in use now?
What do we got, 25 out there, Andy? Yeah, 25.
As you said, the community really wanted these body cams really across the county.
Yeah.
How do you think this helps with public perception really over the next couple of years as these start to get rolled out? Do you hope it improves relations with the public?
Well, just the fact that we have it. Look what's going on across the country. The public says we want more transparency, we want more clarity, and we believe that this is part of it, right? Don't for a minute think it's going to stop something from happening. Look at Memphis. Those guys had body cams. It didn't stop them from inappropriate conduct, right? It's just like right now. There's laws out there about you can't speed in a speeding zone. People do it every day, right? So if you think it's going to stop something, probably not. Will it show that it's inappropriate? Yes. It'll make it easier for us to investigate it. But it's all a matter of public perception, Right now, I would say, depending on what the area is, the public really, they want more police, but they want good police, the same as we do. We want good deputies out there to do the job. But most of the communities want more deputies in their area to stop what's going on. They're tired of, especially the larger cities up north, we don't have those issues, thank God. But I mean, when you can't take public transportation, when you're walking down the street and somebody comes up from behind you and hits you in the back of the head, that's anarchy. The only difference between anarchy and a civil society, the line is drawn by law enforcement. That's what keeps it from happening, right? So most people, they just want good policemen there, same as what we want.
Can you again explain briefly, without too much detail, how this live streaming thing works? In other words, deputies are not going to be live streaming all the time.
Yeah,
So what's the chain of
it's incident driven. Let's say we've got a hostage situation where we're getting ready to make deployment decisions. We'll make that live stream, and so the supervisor can make sure that he's got the people in proper place to set up the perimeter. So it's going to be incident driven. It's not going to be an automatic thing. The supervisor on the road is going to say, okay, I think this is important enough, I want it live streamed.
So that supervisor calls the deputy and say, activate your camera right now, live?
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
and the deputy has a few seconds to do
Yeah,
that. and then-
the operation of it's not that tough.
Okay.
Yep, it's just a matter.
And will somebody back at the department be looking at that too?
No,
Or
the supervisor out there will. That's the important part.
Car.
Yep.
Does anybody have the impression there's going to be a bank of monitors back at the sheriff's
No.
office? And you guys are going to be.
No.
That's not how it
Nope,
works.
nope, nope. Our level of supervision on the road is 3 layers. Road sergeant, watch commander, lieutenant, and then we have what we call CDOs, command duty officers, which are captains. And there's one north and one south, 24 hours a day. So they can make these decisions on our deployment to make sure we're doing things right.
You're going to wear a body camera?
Not unless I'm getting ready to go out here and stop cars, which I don't think I'm going to do, Al. I stopped enough cars in 55 years.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but you said you don't really know another county, at least in Florida, that has this live streaming.
I don't, I could be wrong, but I've been doing a lot of reading on this, and most of them are just run-of-the-mill body cameras.
You hope to be an influence to other counties, maybe
Well,
south or
it could be.
this work?
We've been an influence on counties and police departments across the nation with a lot of the things we're doing, like mental health, like how we do homeland security, how we respond to calls, and been able to reduce our officer-involved shootings. And other agencies, including the Police Executive Research Forum, has come to us and said, what are you guys doing? Because it works really good, especially the mental health component. Every single day I read something where some department says, we're starting a mental health unit in our agency. We've been doing it for 7 years, right? And that's one of the reasons I was called to testify at the United States Senate, is because how we do what we do with mental health, right? So it's a role model. So I would imagine before it's over with, when other agencies get wind of what we're doing with the live streaming, they're going to be calling and saying, how'd you do that? What they got to be prepared to do is they're going to have to update their equipment or software or both. So it's a money deal. It's like, again, when you buy your laptop, you get what you pay for.
Do you think live streaming could have prevented something like what happened in Memphis?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Like live streaming itself, that technology, could that have helped prevent something like what happened in Memphis?
Possibly. It depends on who was reviewing it. Look, if you go back, and I don't know all the intricacies in that, all right? So I'm not saying that one. But if you go back to George Floyd, Memphis, and all these other places that have had these problems, right? You can always turn it back to it's bad training, it's bad policy, and it's bad supervision. Those 3 things are prevalent throughout the situation, okay? But look, let's put this in perspective. I know you hate numbers, but I happen to like them a little bit. There's 800,000 police officers in the United States. That's a lot, right? They're making arrests every day and answering calls for service in the millions. If we're doing 1.2, how many other places with 800,000 cops are doing a large volume of responding for calls for service and dealing with people? So now you had one incident in Memphis, and the George Floyd thing, a couple other ones. But if you put those in perspective to the totality of what's happening out here every day, it's probably 1/1,000,000%. Doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it to where it's okay for it to happen, because it's not okay for it to happen. It's just that, don't paint the entire profession and what they're doing every single day because one incident happened with bad cops. And I guarantee if you ask the rest of the Memphis Police Department, they're appalled too, just like we would be. Okay.
Can you give an
Yeah.
example of what one of these supervisors that are on the other side of the camera are going to be saying to any of these deputies when they turn on their live stream? Can you just give an example?
Well, it depends. It's situational. I'll go back to the deployment if you've got a perimeter going where we need to cordon off a neighborhood, right? He's going to ask, where deputy so-and-so is, where deputy so-and-so is. And he's going to make sure that he's got that perimeter set up the way he wants it, that he believes that it's in our best interest to have that perimeter like that. And if it's not, then he's going to say, okay, unit so-and-so, you go over here, I want you here, right? So it's like quality assurance. He's making sure that what we're doing is the right thing for the situation, right? It'll be different if we had a hostage thing. It'll be different if we had a car chase, right? Because if you look at our policy, we don't chase cars unless it's a very serious incident of a violent crime, right? So if a chase starts and it's not what we believe should be according to the policy, supervisors call them off and say, stop, right? Because we don't want somebody to get killed, an innocent person, chasing something that's not that important. Okay,
Sorry,
yeah.
what are the penalties for not recording when you're supposed to be recording?
Well, early on, it's probably going to be a training counseling for them because it'll be a matter of training, right? I don't expect the deputies out here to digest this thing in totality and have it perfect right off the bat, right? Now, if we're a year into this and we see a pattern of the deputy is not turning it on when he's supposed to, then they're going to get a spanking, without a doubt, right?
Be more specific, what do you mean?
Well, they'll be suspended, yeah.
It's my understanding that these Axon cameras are always recording on a 30-second loop, but it doesn't retain that information until you press record.
That's some mechanics I don't know about.
Okay.
Yeah, I was led to believe they're not recording anything till it's on.
They don't retain any of that recorded information. It's up to each agency to decide what that buffer period of time is, whether it's going to retain the first 30 seconds before you hit record or the first 2 minutes.
That mechanics I don't know.
Okay.
All right, we got some people here. That group back there, folks, is representative of the committee that put this all together. They worked unbelievable hours, unbelievable as far as the information they had to digest and put this thing together. Like I said, 3 years of labor. They did a fantastic job. That's why I asked them to come here today. So if you need some side interviews on some questions like that, which is the technicalities of the software, they'll be able to answer that.